Welcome back, everybody, to another exciting day of CDA League. We've got another 1v1 here for you. It's going to be Rubik versus Darkseer of all matchups. Definitely a little bit unusual, but we'll see how this one goes. We got OP God versus Xerus, so off-lane player versus a safe lane player. Though, if you caught the series yesterday, Vici versus eHome, Xerus did not get to play a whole lot of safe lane. That was a very, very interesting series. And pretty much all of his heroes... Well, I guess he did get to play Terrorblade in the second game, but they really just got... they really got run over. So let's see if he can start his team off on the right foot here and get them the win in the 1v1.
Prepare for battle.
Alright, what do we got going on? Need some audio. I don't know what they're chatting about. Let's see. Fight to the death? Anyone? They're both coming out with wards. This looks somewhat serious. So what? Rubik's ranged, but the Ion Shell spam is definitely going to be annoying, at least up until what? He gets 6, and then he has Ion Shell of his own, and then every single wave is just going to get instantly cleared. Like they both push pretty hard. All right, OP coming in, pops down 2 observer wards. Xerus thinks about hitting him. Not gonna do it. Okay, they're having a bit of fun. Are we playing no blocks?
30 seconds to battle.
Ion Shell on the Rubik. All right, it seems like maybe this one is not gonna be so serious, folks. I am gonna be joined today by Danog as my co-caster. We do not have Winter returning, and Danog I think is just on his way. I'm glad to see that they did not manage to break the 1v1 mode with the most recent update, and I'm really, really interested to see if today's patch is going to have a significant impact at all in these games. I can understand that so to me it seems like with changing all of the gold and the bounties and whatnot, they are trying to oh man, the stat block looks so empty now. Look. The strength just gives you HP and HP regen, Agi gives you armor and attack speed, and int gives you mana and mana regen. That's it. Alright, here we go. So no blocks. Did Xerus somehow miss that CS with the Fade Bolt? Oh no. At least he's got one now. But so it's gonna... There's less gold available for everything, but no changes at all to experience. So to me that would seem to make heroes that just scale off of level more than scale off of items potentially stronger. And I think overall it's definitely going to slow down the game a little bit, but is it going to slow down the game in a way that makes these slower heroes any more viable? I'm really not sure. I guess it is just... I feel like it's going to make games slightly longer, but it may actually just shift things into these really strong laning heroes and make it all about winning your lanes and securing your levels. But it remains to be seen. And of course we've still got hero changes and item changes coming down the pipeline a little bit later on, once these changes have a chance to settle out. I do like that Valve seems to be taking a more, like, I think they're being a little bit more iterative and a little bit more data-driven in some of the recent patches. Like they were doing the experimental matchmaking and all that kind of stuff. So it does seem like they're trying to get the game into a good place. We do still have this 1v1 going on, 9-2 against 9-0. Darkseer sustaining pretty nicely with his triple mango. What are the consequences? I saw people on Reddit speculating about Bounty Hunter and Alchemist. You know, whenever you nerf other sources of gold, those heroes do get a little boost. And what? So kills all got reduced, but bounty runes are the same. So I guess proportionally bounty runes a little bit stronger, and fighting for bounty runes might be a little bit more prevalent. Xerus really just giving OP the slaps here. He's got his Null Talisman picked up and is taking a very slight lead, but you know, nothing too crazy. I think things really get interesting once Rubik gets 6, perhaps. Darkseer, what's he gone for? Just trying to pick up the Soul Ring. Always this sort of issue with Darkseer. You start to run a little bit low on HP, but you want your Soul Ring as well because you're also kind of low on mana. And just not having a very fun time. Alright, triple Mango. OP vacuums him back. Looking to chase him down here perhaps, but I think Eurus is going to be just fine. And he does also have a salve. OP needing to be careful not to take too many tower shots. In fact, is he just giving up? Okay, he's giving up. GG called. I think he realized that this was not necessarily going anywhere. And Vici are going to win selection priority for themselves. So that's definitely going to help them out. As far as the standings for these two teams, Sparking Arrow 7-1. They did lose that series yesterday to IG, and this is actually their last series of the entire event. Who can actually catch them? So IG are 6-3. They're done. LGD could also go 7-2. Vici, no, they've got 3 losses. eHome 4 losses. Okay, so actually the only team that has any chance of catching up to Sparking Arrow is LGD, and LGD lost the head-to-head against Sparking Arrow. So I think Sparking Arrow might actually be guaranteed top spot at this point. So this match isn't actually... Sure, there's still the prize money available for the individual games, but there actually isn't any further money available for them from the prize pool, from the actual rankings. So maybe we'll see something a bit interesting. I kind of wonder if they might try and emulate what eHome did to Vici yesterday. That was a really fun match to cast. If you guys didn't catch it, it's not going to take much time out of your day. You can zoom right through the draft, and then the first game was 19 minutes, and the second game was 22 minutes. So if you've got a little bit of time, I definitely encourage you to go back and watch that eHome versus Vici series. But that's going to wrap it up for our 1v1. We're going to head into the lobby for our next game, jump to a break, and when we come back, Game 1 of Vici versus Sparking Arrow Gaming, which was rescheduled from the other day, will be ready for you to rock and roll. So.
To not miss out on anything, if you're taking a lot of these team fights and they don't go off very well, it's going to take you that much longer to catch up while the enemy team is farming. And we see a lot of these things with attributes not providing the extra little quirks to it. So intellect not providing spell amp, strength not providing magic resist, and movement speed not being generated from agility. So, I mean, we're seeing a few changes with that. I think with the Lena, she might be hit a little hard, at least until she hits the level 15. It becomes a bit harder for her to nuke the wave down immediately.
This is a nasty OD pick, by the way. Vici have picked Morphling and Underlord, and Sparking Arrow are sure, we'll pick OD. Alright. And they really don't have any anti-OD stuff currently. I mean, I guess they can still try and... They could try and pick Puck, but I think Sparking Arrow are just going to ban Puck as with their last ban, and then... I don't know what you do. Even I don't even know, picking Puck into the Nyx Assassin can be a little bit tricky, depending.
Puck's a little weak though, no really low armor, not great harass potential in the lane. You need to commit quite heavily.
It wins hard against OD though. It's a very one-sided matchup. Sure.
True.
Okay, well, Necrophos coming in. This is something that we've been seeing more of in some of the other regions, but it does seem like it's now making its way here. So Sparking Arrow, fairly flexible lanes, though I imagine the OD just heading mid, and then Necro DK safe off, depending on whatever matchups that they want. Maybe they want the Necrophos. I think they want the Necrophos into the Underlord, right? Because he's got good sustain and can just kind of work him down slowly. And DK doesn't have a very fun time against the Underlord. We've seen that laning matchup multiple times this tournament.
Good sustain, even if you're strength morphing. Heartstopper's still doing a good amount. All of your stuff is percentage based, so Reaper Scythe is still decent against him too.
Yeah, against the Morphling for sure. So what do you do now if you're Vici? I don't know. Maybe you... Even if you don't necessarily want to because of the Nyx, maybe Pugna is still the best pick. It's pretty good against Necro, it's really good against OD, but okay, just gonna go for the Razor instead. I like this as well. Though, I do have to say I like Sparking Arrow's draft overall.
Yeah. Oh, and he's got the parrot set as well. That's great.
Yeah, I gotta. What does he only have the head? Oh, he's got the head and he's got like the immortal
The cloak.
leg. Yeah, cloak item. But that's the. I
Yeah.
think that's the default scythe. Anywho.
Is that a new Morphling set or like a Chinese specific Morphling
No,
set?
that's a really old one. That's actually. Ooh, is that an Anuxi set actually? It's that or it's. Is it?
I'm just
Steph?
not a Morphling player, so.
No, it's a yeah. So that's Shard of the Lost Star. It was released in 2015, and Danadem and Anuxi, and one other person. So there you go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, not so many people use it because most people just use the Immortals, right? The Blade of Tears and stuff like that.
I don't know. I reckon that one looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. Morphling's base model is atrocious, so you gotta stick something on it.
Yeah, give him a particle update, Valve.
Yeah, he needs an overhaul for sure.
Half-Life Alex has been released. You got time. You can go back and fix some of these things up.
They're all working from home. They can't get to their. Well, who knows? Actually, I don't know what Valve are up to currently.
Yeah, I heard Trenton Diary talking before about. I'm not sure how it is up in Queensland, but apparently in North America, you're actually required by law, and you can get fined if you're not wearing a mask when you go out in a public place. Even like
okay. Is it
a
state by
makeshift one.
state or? I'm
I
not
don't
actually. I'm not actually sure. I feel like ever since this has all started, people have really just been. I mean, I've been keeping abreast of some U.S. news, but in general, I feel like most people are just kind of paying attention to announcements and stuff in their own country, in their own state, because it is also changing all the time. That's the other thing.
Particularly in the US, so much of everything is not even state-based, but like county-based. You know, they're
Right.
they're governed a lot by themselves in their own little areas. So what's right for one isn't necessarily going to be relevant for another.
Yeah, but we are not here as political commentators. We are here as Dota commentators. So let's get this one going. Do we just have the lanes that we expect? So OD is going mid, but he thinks he's up against the Razor, and he's right. So he's going boots first.
30 seconds.
Necrophos is heading to the safe lane, and they do just have the DK heading to the off lane. This should be expected. It is the carry player playing the Necrophos, and it is the off lane player OP God playing on the Dragon Knight. They are just running at Eurus here. Dragon Tail already skilled up. I don't know if this is a kill. This is decent damage as I say that, and attribute shift not fast enough. There you go, first blood.
Shift rate of 1, not that strong. Until you hit that level 3 mark, it's going to be very difficult. As well, with this Ogre, he checked if there was this mid-observer ward placed by standing in the trees, but he actually stood off a little bit to the side. I don't think he actually got hit by the tower, so be pinging it out.
I've got a big gecko in my room. I just saw him crawl past on the wall. I heard something in my shelves last night. I thought it was just a big bug or something, but there you go.
Geckos are cool though. They get rid of pests and stuff.
Yeah, they are kind of cool, but I definitely want to catch him and put him outside of my room, because otherwise he's just gonna poop behind stuff. And
Don't they like screech as well?
maybe. Anyway, so DY has just skilled up Bloodlust, and he's just running at the Dragon Knight. He knows that he's got Dragon Tail, so able to put a little bit more damage down. But Felix is just going to come in here and drag the wave away. DY's going to give him a few slaps on his way up, but he's Nyx Assassin. He'll be fine. 4.3 regen. This bottom lane, Lina at least able to put some good pressure in. This position for Lina has been very popular. And PYW actually taking a lot of hits. Frostblast only on cooldown for a little bit longer. He does get into the trees and salves up. It's going to be interesting to actually... You watch the CS, and there's so many that are like under... You know, it's under 30 golds.
Yeah.
I saw a 29 before. Like,
OP on this top side was just running at the Morphling, even diving past the tier 1 tower into the trees. And he's able to do that, you know, in order to secure the kill, they had to scale up the Dragon Tail, so he's just been stunning him up, denying the range creep, and doing a pretty good job.
Oh, Lich dead bottom. They got him. Yang very low, but not dead, and he's got a salve. I don't even know. I guess Lich just got caught out, got caught by a stun, and then that was pretty much it. POW looking for the wraparound here. Gonna apply a bit more pressure to the Necrophos. That attack range on Alina is just crazy. 670. So, seems like Underlord's actually doing okay down here. I don't know if it gets a little bit more difficult maybe once the Necrophos starts getting some levels up, but they've got the help from the Alina. Necrophos just committing here. He needs the kill though. Doesn't quite get the last tip, but he is starting to get some stacks going. Has the Death Pulse once again. Yang diving in. One more auto attack does it. Red Panda hoping to finish off this kill, but Yang's got a 10 stick charge. So it looks like he should be okay. And Lich unfortunately does not have a mango or anything to get off one more Frost Blast. So all he can do is kind of zone him back a little bit with the auto attacks.
The medic arrives as well with POIW, so he's fighting fit one more time. He's even got the Ring of Regen delivered out to him, so he's going to be able to stick in this lane really nicely.
Yeah, it'll be... I'm really wondering how much we're going to feel the impact on the item timings. Mid lane so far, relatively even. This... I don't know if this matchup is as good for the Razor as maybe it once was, because the thing always used to be when you had the really old unstable current was that if he ever, you know, if you linked and then he cast the imprisonment on you, he would just get purged, then you would still get some link duration, but I'm not so sure these days. Feels like you're just gonna get imprisoned and Odie's still gonna get some CS. So we'll see. Keep an eye on it. And then later on, now what's Razor's int growth? Ooh, 1.8. Not amazing.
Not the strongest at all. I wonder what the mindset was behind this DY early Ogre pick. Is it just basically to be a bloodlust bot? If so, I guess it's good for the Morphling, but it's going to take a while for that to make a big impact.
He's been playing it a lot over the last couple of days. I think it's just what Vici like having him on. Yeah. Works pretty well for their lineup. They like the slightly greedier, slightly farmier position for us. As I say that, POW getting gone on down here. Felix did have himself a nice little invis room. POW is not dead yet. Okay, did need to auto attack him down. Yang now going to take a little bit of damage. Red Panda, that's the last of his mana. There is some mangoes on Felix, so he can get another stun out. They won't even get this Firestorm down. Does finally manage it. Death Pulse coming through, and that is going to be the kill for the Necrophos.
Very important for this Necro to get those early item timings, because once you've got that, it's hard to come back. OD getting gone on a little bit.
Yeah, big dive. They've already used the Astral, but he's fast, and Felix comes in, finds a little bit of a turnaround. Some more damage onto Ori, who's actually still tanking tower shots. Really not a fun situation for him. Bounty Rune spawning in a second, and both teams kind of scrambling as actually Eurus going to walk this one out and go and grab one on the top. Felix coming over here. It does seem like it'll just end up being 2-2. Everybody's scrambling kind of last minute to get to the runes. This top matchup seems like it would actually be pretty decent for the Dragon Knight, right? Morphling is only really going to buy stat-based damage, so the Breathe Fire damage reduction is going to give you a lot of CSing potential, and you're not likely to get right-clicked out of the lane by the Morphling either. Right?
Especially with this build that he's got, you know, 3 points into the Dragon's Blood.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like one team needs to win the lanes for their kind of draft? I guess both teams have, you know, pretty decent scaling.
They got pretty decent scaling, but I feel like you've kind of gone not necessarily all in PYW. He's gone aggressive on Red Panda. Yeah.
Can the Ancients get it? Nope, not quite. POW will secure it. It was very close. Those Thunder Hides were hungry for blood. OD does have the imprisonment. DY keeping up with him, but looks like DD's going to be okay here.
It's just always scary to go up against a farm Necrophos early on, so I think less so who's going to scale, more so are you going to be able to prevent the enemy team from doing something.
Yang getting decent farm, but looks like he's dead once again, and that's going to be a Scythe on the bottom lane. So Necrophos really getting off to a hot start. What do you think he's What's the item build for the Necrophos this game? Just like, you know, pipe mech kind of a thing, or does he consider a Radiance? What do you think the thought process is?
I don't think he's going into a mech just because he's got those phase boots queued up, so he wants to go a bit more of a run at you style. I think the pipe is still a really good item. I think it's even more necessary now than it was before. Just because of the not getting anything from your strength. It just means that it's much more impactful to have that one early on, but stacking multiple instances of magic resist, not quite as good anymore.
What's going on with POWs? Just TPing them. Bot. Top lane's getting pressured by the Elder Dragon form, and we do have two supports rotating up here. DY and Felix both moving into position. Eurus quite low, but just gonna morph to get a little bit of HP back. There's a salve from DY, so it looks like he should be fine. As the Necro's Courier actually dying at bottom. He's just gonna be going for a Force Staff here. And TP top from the Lina. They really want some kind of a kill, but Dragon Knight not the easiest of targets. They need the follow-up stun to land. Some body blocking going on. Eurus morphing into the Dragon Knight. That's going to help out a little bit as Ori now also coming in. Spike's Carapace going to buy them a couple of seconds. OP just running for the trees, but he's got the link on him. And that 4-man gank from Vici, who will find the kill on the off lane. Though not sticking around to get any tower pressure or anything like that. Ori's just straight back to mid.
I like that though, you know, it required 4 heroes. It got one of the heroes that on Sparking Arrow's side that was sitting right at the top of the net worth, and Underlord didn't die in response, and they didn't lose any of their creeps underneath the tier 1 mid tower. So
it might be too early to say on the Underlord situation. He is just going to go for the Dark Rift out. They might have the damage anyway. They're thinking about it. Here comes the Scythe. He's dunked. Oh man, poor Yang. You just cursed him.
I did, but that's on him. He knew that the heroes were done at top and still stood farming relatively aggressively. And man, it's like 8.5 minutes and only 183 gold for this Underlord kill, who has a decent amount of farm, so really feeling it early on.
Yeah, it'll be super interesting to see with the streak changes as well, like some of these kill bounties. Sort of 50% reduction on streaks. So
yeah, I think after a 4 kill streak, it's actually less than what it was in 7.24, not even 2.25.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it might make the games, I guess, a little bit less topsy-turvy if you're just trading kills back and forth and you happen to get some guy who hasn't died the whole game. But we'll you know, only time will tell as we see more games. So far, this game feels pretty similar to, you know, the previous patch. The net worth advantage not huge, only 1.5k in Sparking Arrow's favor currently. But I think that's also just because Vici are getting some decent farm. Nice 2-man stun from Felix, but he won't be able to interrupt this again, unfortunately. So they're still going to get the outpost up here. I don't believe they have enough time to take it back. Felix trying for it, but DY interrupts him. Now Lina's going to come TPing in. It's a 3v3. More heroes also rotating. Odie threatening, but doesn't have the mana to actually do anything. So just walks back to the lane.
Again, I think it's one of these things that's going to need to be seen in practice as opposed to just theorized, because a lot of these teams kind of have it as second nature of, right, it's X minutes, I've had an okay game, this is my item timing. And now suddenly that's all out the window, and it's the synergy about how it's all going to fit together. And I think the teams that are going to have the most success are the ones that realize how to make everything click all at once.
I think it will be noticeable, but I guess the thing to keep in mind is that it's also... it's 10%, right? Like you were saying, for an early timing, it's going to matter less than... you just might, you know... but it will matter quite a bit once you get later on into the game. Yeah, DY's dead here. There's a dive at bottom as well. Trouble. Felix also trying to escape out here. Vici just going to pop the Dark Rift. Are they just going to leave the Razor behind? However, DD drops the Sanities. And, not finding anything out of that one. Ori and PYW still chasing. Odie just TPing into his death. I don't even know if Vici really needed to leave as they pick up 2 more kills on this bottom dive.
Yeah, forced the heavy commitment out of the Sanity's Eclipse there, but Yang getting gone up.
Yeah, he rifted out, then he TP'd top. Now he doesn't have the rift to escape, so just getting chased down. They do have the point in the Sinister Gaze, dragging him back in. OP still just giving him the right clicks. Yang trying to juke his way through the trees, does have some stick charges as well, but he gets found by the Dragon Tail. Eurus, does he have any way to save him? I don't believe so. They will look for the turnaround on the Dragon Knight, however, and OP realizing that he's 100% dead. This Razor is absolutely everywhere this game. And,
having a good one.
man. They're buying 2 Force Staffs to try and deal with him.
Middle tower is under attack.
Pretty understandable. I mean, on this Necro as well, he's actually going into a Yule Scepter now, so just wanting anything to get a bit of that area control, a bit of that movement control for the rest of your team. I suppose for heroes like Necro who don't build up into a ton of agi anyway, it's a bit of a buff for him in terms of map movement, relatively.
Yeah. Was anybody... I guess you... like, it did matter, the stats, but I don't know if people were ever really planning around it.
That? Yeah.
I guess I don't have to swap my treads to agi anymore to go slightly faster. That's
maybe for the armor. I don't
no,
know.
you're probably it's probably always going to be more EHP to just be on strength. So there you go. We're back to easier tread swaps. It is crazy to me how many of these changes are basically reversions, but they're reversions after like years, right? Because I think they started experimenting with the stats back when it was still primary attribute dependent as well, right? And then we went to okay, it doesn't matter what your primary attribute is, you get the bonus, like the perk. And then now we're back to just no
like
perk.
7.0, right? Or
yeah, this is all.
DK getting caught out.
DK getting gone on here. OP, no real way out. He just wanted his Blink Dagger. Poor guy, but he'll get set back a little bit further.
So yeah, all these changes getting reverted. You've got no more shrines. Could outposts be next?
I kind of like the dynamic that outposts are providing currently, but you know, I guess I could also see it getting removed. We'll have to see. Underlord TPing in. They really, really want to defend this mid-tier 1 tower. They're going to catch the pit onto 2. Force Staff for DD, but nothing to really help out Nyx Assassin. Chain Frost deployed for a little bit of damage, but their DK is dead, and I don't think they're truly looking for a fight at this junction. Sparking Arrow just going to back off. Still a razor-thin net worth advantage in their favor, and Bounty Runes just about to come up, looking like it might just be a 2-2 split currently. Maybe there'll be some kind of rotation. Sparking Arrow actually have to go and get an outpost somewhere. Seems like Red Panda might just be trying to sneak up here and snipe one for himself.
I agree with you. I like outposts in their current iteration. 4 was way too many, but 1 on each side, I think that's suitable. Will they be able to get this wraparound onto the Necro? He's got the 4-star for a bit of that maneuverability. Could try and go up the cliff with some good individual plays.
Yeah, 4-staff back. Felix here to help protect him. They do pop the dust, looking for DY. They caught him for a second on the sentry, I believe. So, or maybe their smoke just broke and they knew that they weren't that close to the Necrophos.
Yeah. I think the Nyx broke it a little bit with that invis.
Grove Bow for OD seems good. Actually, they've got some pretty sick neutral items on the side of Sparking Arrow. They've got a Grove Bow. They also have a shawl floating around. So very, very nice. Red Panda kind of getting going on here. He's going to get stunned up. There's a drain onto OP, but he got the stun out, and Vici with that looking to reset the fight. OD doesn't have a whole lot of stacks, but so Underlord's banished in the fountain. He's fine. He's out of there. And everyone else in Vici just retreating as the mid-tier 1 tower does get brought down into the day.
I think Vici are getting some decent items up as well. You know, the Arcane Ring for Ogre makes him next to unkillable, gives him a bunch of extra mana, and basically all across the game you've had these stat items come out for the Morphling. He's had to be able to choose between the Iron Tree, now he's got Pupil's Gift and the Vambrace that he's cycled through at various points.
Yeah, definitely nice. Jiro's taking a while to... He's going for a Lincoln Sphere first here, so... Definitely nice against what Sparking Arrow have. There's quite a lot of single target disable. PYW is getting caught out. I think this is the Blink Dagger really the first usage here for OP God, and Vici gonna look for the turnaround. Eurus, nice morph, and now they've got the pit, trapping them up with the high ground. Difficult for Vici to chase in though. Big damage off of the sights, but it's not quite a kill, and Necrophos, maybe thinking that he was a little bit tankier than he actually is, will now be brought down. OD still got the hammer to drop, tries to get up a couple of stacks, but Underlord with the hood just tanking straight through everything, and Eurus able to keep on going with the auto attacks, find the double kill. Alright. Good fight for Vici Gaming.
Is he underestimating the strength of the Sanity's Eclipse because of the change to Int, you reckon? Like the spell amp not counting as much? He's got a null tally, he's got a force staff, and he's got the power treads on Intmorph.
I mean, it didn't do that much damage, right? He didn't have any. He had like one stack. So
yeah, but he's popped it like 2 or 3 times, and for next to no impact.
Yeah, might be catching him out a little bit. I guess it's not as crazy as it once was, right? Because it just gives you max mana, right? It doesn't give you int, so the stack shouldn't be impacting you so much. But yeah, lacking your int growth and the spell amp from your items could be catching him off a little bit. Wonder if is anyone gonna buy a Veil this game with their team? I guess no one's really going for it. Certainly would be nice with the composition that they've got. But it does seem like Vici are stabilizing this game pretty nicely. Yang's got his pipe now. The Razor's gonna have his BKB, so he's going to be really, really strong in a couple of these upcoming fights, right? Should just be able to run in. 10-second BKB is basically immunity. PYW does get caught out at mid. Just trying to push out the wave.
Remind that though, instant smoke in response. They're trying to make the most of this this DK Elder Dragon form. He's got his Blink Dagger, so they've got some pick-off potential onto Eurus. He's just finished up that Lincoln's though, so it's going to be much more hard for them.
Yeah, and he seems to have some kind of idea that there might be heroes trying to push him out of the Radiant jungle. He doesn't have any vision to really play around, so worth it to back all the way up here and just take these camps as they respawn. Sparking Arrow do come and grab their outpost, or at least the Radiant outpost. And Vici, they do have a smoke on Lina. He's got the 100 cast range, got the Aether Lens. BKB picked up for the Razor, so not a bad time for them to fight. Could maybe take the fight to this bottom outpost if they wanted to. Let's see if that's going to end up being the plan. Just heading back to their sentry, making sure that they're not smoking under vision, though. Oh, I don't know. Razor may have actually been spotted there since he took the smoke from the low ground.
He wasn't. It was like literally about a millimeter from getting spot.
Yeah, I swapped the vision over a little bit too late. Ooh, Nyx Assassin's down here. I don't think they have any idea that he's really here, though. Smoke about to get broken, but they are actually just Dark Rifting over to the top side, just in case that's where Sparking Arrow are trying to contest. So Vici really trying to secure 2 outposts here, and it looks like they have done it.
Nicely done. They'll get the boundary rune as well, just in case there was any contest up there. But it should be a 3-to-1 trade still.
But that is gonna move the experience. Well, they were actually already ahead on experience. Sparking Arrow leading on gold. I guess they are. Vici are leading on kills. So we might see more of this. I guess Sparking Arrow have been grouping up a little bit more, but to me, these, like, the 2 graphs are, it's kind of interesting, right? That Sparking Arrow have, like, consistently had this gold lead, but not a huge gold lead. And Vici they were behind a little bit on experience early, but now they've actually built up a pretty significant experience lead.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking in the pre-game about levels mattering a bit more than gold, just because of the change to the bounty system. See how it's going to have an impact in these team fights. We can see both teams relatively keen to fight, although you might give the edge to Vici considering they've got a bit more of these team fight items built up. The BKB, the Pipe of Insight on the Underlord, and it's really just 4-star central right now on Sparking Arrow.
the other thing that's, of course, and it's been in the game for a while, but does always make experience a little bit more relevant than gold, or at least than it used to be, as they don't get the deny up top, is talents, of course, right? These big power spikes for a lot of heroes at various points in the game. And, well, both teams seemingly content to just keep on farming for a little bit. DD has picked up a full Hurricane Pike, and he's got a Blink now. Underlord's going for a Halberd, Dragon Knight's going for a Halberd, and we are just kind of in farm mode for a second.
Yeah, I mean, if it gets to the uber late game, things like, I know it's not in this game, but the Clockwork are going to become really strong. Having that 50% magic resist buff, going to make him a tanky beast. This time around, though, I suppose Necro has 20% magic resistance, which is going to be pretty useful.
Do you think he's going to take it this game? I guess it is pretty value. Necro is going for a Dagon now. Alright, so really just not trying to be tanky at all. Really just going all burst, all about hoping to find this kind of one shot at the beginning of the fight, perhaps. DD, maybe seeing some of the BKBs, but also just a natural choice. He's going to be going for a Hex here. But yeah, I'm not even really sure what either team should be doing. They seem to be content to just kind of chase each other around a little bit, continue farming. Vici mostly waiting for items on their Morphling. Yura's still going to take a little while to finish off his Ethereal Blade. And Sparking Arrow, I feel like they're somewhat keen to take a fight, but they need the right target. And ideally they don't want the Razor to be there. Does seem like they want to defend this mid tower. OD also going to be TPing into the tier 2. Yang feeling confident with the Dark Crypto. They're going to jumping in. They get the 2-man stun. Can they actually burst anyone here? Reaper's Scythe. They bring down the Underlord and they go chasing for a little bit more, but Ori has been able to disengage. They're chasing. OP God does have his Blink off cooldown in 2 seconds time. He's going to go looking for something. DY was maybe hoping to interrupt that, as Eurus could be the target. He's actually already had his Lincolns popped. Nice stun from PYW. Eurus was trying to protect the Lina, but now he's the one in danger. OD needs to drop this hammer. He's getting chain stun. Nicely done by the Morphling. The Laguna Blade as well. He can't get it off. Dragon Knight's getting drained. 165 damage. Vici finding the turnaround. Necrophos doesn't have all that much to contribute. He's already used the Scythe. Backlines Felix trying to hold them back, but he will also fall, and it seems like Sparking Arrow have chased just a little bit too far in this fight. Red Panda dead. Ori finds one more from the high ground, and that is going to be a 5-for-1.
Yeah, what a great bait, using the Lincolns to protect the Lina. Maybe put a bit more focus on Eurus when he knows that he's always got the strength morph that's going to enable him to survive. And the Dagon delivered mid-fight to the Necro, but didn't get an opportunity to use it, just chain stunned away from the rest of his team.
And biggest problem, of course, being OD not able to get the ulti off. Nice morph from the Morphling into the Nyx Assassin. They got the chain stun, and that was the end of that. Yeah, the other thing, I guess, Morphling, he morphed a lot of strength before they even went on him, so the Vessel wasn't really going to be impactful in terms of stopping him from morphing, and yeah, Sparking Arrow, not the best fight. Ooh, well, Felix is down here, but not a whole lot that he can do to the Morphling just by himself. And Sparking Arrow a little bit back to the drawing board. The one thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned it for this cast, I think I mentioned it during the 1v1, but looking over it, I believe SAG are actually already guaranteed #1 in the league, because the only team that can have the same record as them, even if they lose, is LGD. And LGD lost to them in the head-to-head, so worth keeping in mind. Of course, there's still money available for each individual game, but I think Sparking Arrow are actually guaranteed #1 in the league.
Yeah, it looks that way actually. So this is the last series that Sparking Arrow are going to play.
Yeah, and Vici have to play. Vici are playing their last 2 today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and they're currently. Are they 4 and... They're 4 and 3. Yeah, so they can still do a bit better. You know, they can go...
There's a lot of teams around the middle of that table, you know.
Yeah, 4-4, 4-4,
4-3.
Yeah, it's very busy in the middle. But yeah, this game just kind of feels like it's slipping away from Sparking Arrow a little bit. Vici getting really strong with the BKBs, Morphling really coming into his own, but I don't know if it's just my imagination or if I can actually feel the fact that these item timings are slower, and as a result the overall game is just slower. Like the periods of downtime where people are farming to a new item feel like they're longer. And I guess that makes sense, but maybe it's just the nature of this game as well. Yeah, that's true as well. There's not only are you getting less gold per camp, but heroes are moving less quickly from camp to camp, so the map's going to feel a little bit bigger as well.
I haven't played any games on this new patch, but I was reading other people say, I was playing Void, and it was super noticeable how slow I was moving from camp to camp.
Radiant are scanning.
All right, this time I think they were actually caught underneath that Radiant Observer Ward.
Man, there's a Radiant Observer Ward all the way in the base as well.
Yeah.
I think that might be a little bit optimistic for Sparking Arrow, but we'll have to see. They're retreating back to just hold their high ground over here. This positioning would seem to suggest that they have some kind of idea of what's going on here. So it looks like Vici perhaps not really going to get anything. Yang has, well, he hasn't picked up the gem. DUI has grabbed the gem, so big, not even real, I guess somewhat confidence from Vici, but also really just wanting to completely take over the map, shut down the Nyx Assassin's movements, and start to apply more and more pressure now that their Morphling is getting pretty strong. DD gets the imprisonment out onto mid. Razor, they're going to try and hold him back so that they can get their OD back to safety. Shotgun from Eurus is going to make quick work of Felix, and now onto the mid tier 2 tower. Or he did use the BKB, but this looks like it should just be kind of a free tower. Necrophos not really interested in coming back just yet. There is actually, Dire Glyph also getting popped just to keep the creep wave alive a little bit longer and stop the push at top, but Vici still having to take a second, and now Necrophos TPing back in. They have already popped the Elder Dragon form. It's actually about to run out. It looks like OP was maybe using it for a bit of farm elsewhere, and that means he's not going to have it available for this fight, at least for another 35 seconds.
He used it in that tri-camp area, maybe thinking that it was time for them to farm with the BKB not available. I also noticed at the bottom lane when PYW was farming it up that the Dragon Slave Light Strike Array, even with the level 15, wasn't enough to completely wipe out the wave.
Yeah, the other thing, yeah, the spells on creeps is definitely going to be noticeable for sure, especially for Intiros. But I guess the other thing to bring up, right, is that not only is it going to, it's actually slower than what you were saying before, right? Because the way that farming in Dota kind of works is that each item accelerates the rate at which you gain farm, right? So if you've got, like, if initially your curve was like this, now the fact that you're going to spend even longer getting, it's, your first item is going to take a little bit longer, and that's going to make it so that also pushes back your second item. It's not just linear in the 10%, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I hope it makes sense to the people at home watching, because that's who I'm supposed to be talking to, but we got a bit of a standoff here at mid. Both teams just bringing in everybody. Catch, not fantastic. They're putting the Razor out in front with the Lincoln Sphere on him, and Ori is insanely difficult to go on. 2.5k health. He's got the Yules. He's got the Halberd. He's got the BKB. He's got a lot of outs for himself.
That point that you were making just then, that's why I really liked the most recent change to the BKB. Just the fact that you had to build a couple of little items into it in order to actually finish it up. The broadsword and the
BKB
Mythical Hammer
or Battle Fury?
Battle Fury, sorry. Instead of the Demon Edge, just because you can get these smaller little, I suppose, power boosts, or you can just farm a lot easier with that small item.
Right.
And it just accelerates everything else, rather than having to wait and, expend all of your gold at once and have a big power spike. I think lots of little ones are much more impactful.
What do Vici see? They're trying to smoke up this hill. They've got the stun onto the Necrophos. Big damage! He is gone. They don't even see anyone else on Sparking Arrow, but they've got this ward right up here on the high ground, and that makes for an easy smoke into an easy kill, and now into an easy Roshan. Vici really taking over the game. These graphs are crazy. Like if you net worth graph, right? Oh yeah, 4K gold at the peak, Now it's like a 2k lead for Vici. The experience graph is 15k.
Pretty nuts. I mean, maybe the fact that Lena's able to go into these lanes and shove them out relatively easier.
I feel like I want to see the rest of the games today, right? And to see if we have the same disconnect. Because I feel like in the past, you have been pretty easily able to predict like the experience graph just based on the gold graph. They're always kind of similar, right? Unless it's unless there's like an alchemist or one team is really 5-manning really heavily, then you might be falling behind further and further in experience. But I don't even feel like Sparking Arrow have been 5-manning that much, but they are just so behind in experience. Where is that manifesting? I guess their supports are super behind, right? Lena's 18 and Nyx is 13 and Lich is 12. So I guess that's where it's really really showing up.
Well, speaking of that, Lena, nice little blink dodge there, but not
Still
gonna be
dead.
enough.
Yep. Now Eurus is hunting for DD, though. It's going to force out the BKB charge. On the other side, DY, sorry, getting chased down by Felix. Does pop the dust, just try and slow him down a little bit. Can he juke this out? No, he gets stunned. Here comes OP with the follow-up stun. Are they going to bother scything this Ogre? I don't think so. And Felix actually chasing for a little bit more. Pops the spiked Carapace onto the Underlord, but now he doesn't have a whole lot to protect himself against the Morphling, who's just going to go jumping on top of him. He's trying to bring down one without the use of the E-Blade, saving it for OP, who does pop his BKB, just trying to make the run out here. OD thinking about helping out. They need to keep on canceling his Blink Dagger, but it's not going to be enough, and that BKB charge is going to get him back out to safety. But quite a few BKBs on cooldown for the next little bit. OD's on cooldown for 24, and then Morphling's still on cooldown for 22.
Yeah, this Lena is going to become an absolute beast shortly. 18.5 level, as we were saying. Well ahead of the supports on Sparking Arrow's side. Only 400 gold away from that Ag Scepter and nearly hitting up to that level 20.
Necrophos, you're not that tanky. Adapt to strike, putting in some damage. Here comes the E-Blade. Eurus is chasing after him. DD might be able to help him. Defensive Astral, perhaps. They're going to look for the turnaround with the Scythe, but he's already morphing strength. He's going to be A-okay. Necrophos dead, and OD unable to really do too much more. Vici just turning up with all 3 cores on mid. The supports are going to go and deal with top lane, it looks like. PYW just desperately trying to finish up that Aghanim Scepter. And let's see if Sparking Arrow can hold the high ground.
They've got the repair kit to help them a little bit.
Alright, 1 hit out of your Blink Pike. Yeah, they've got the... Oh my god, they've got Frost Shield and they've got repair kit. OP going in, looking for Ori, but this is a tanky Razor. More chain stun, but he's still surviving. He's A-okay, and Yang's still on the front lines, just chopping wood on this tier 3 tower. Ogre having to run all the way over. Still 30 seconds dead. How much damage can they actually do? They're going to throw out the imprisonment. Eurus going in aggressively, getting caught out somewhat. Nice stun from Felix, but Morphling does still have this Aegis for at least another minute and 40 seconds, so Eurus going to be fine. And Sparking Arrow just forcing them back. Maybe they wait out. They get some healing on the Morphling and wait out the Elder Dragon form. Make another attempt at it.
They've changed up a bit of their strategy as well on Sparking Arrow. They were initially going for this Scythe of Vice on the OD, now going for a Moonshard instead, so just wanting to get those stacks of the Int stolen up ASAP.
Yeah, I guess he can sit there and auto attack. Hopefully, it's gonna be tough with the E-Blade. I think we might see some E-Blade saves coming from the Morphling. It will help him.
Hurricane Pike and the Grove Bow.
Yeah, it should help a bit. Yang, couple of auto attacks onto him. He does have the Halberd helping him out somewhat. Couple of misses. Sanding's Eclipse not really doing that much, and Ori's found his target. He's right on top of the OD. He won't be able to escape. That is a godlike for Ori. Now OP is the next target. Eurus looking towards him. Yang buying back into this game as Red Panda tries for the TP out. It's not quite going to be, well, it's not quite going to be interrupted by POW. As Vici Gaming up onto the high ground. Sparking Arrow, what resources do they actually have available here? Got to make good use of the Scythe, but not going to be easy with Eurus hanging on to this Lincoln Sphere. He jumps in aggressively. Necrophos, what can you find? It's too much chain stun, and the nukes from the Lina just absolutely annihilating him. The Aegis will finally be claimed, but this is a buyback out of the OD. Yang runs forward, pops the Halberd onto the OD. They're looking for the chain stun onto the Morphling, but he just pops BKB and starts laying into the Dragon Knight. This repair kit plus the Frost Shield Such a pain. Can they keep their OD alive? He pikes a little bit further away, but they are on top of him, and his Blink Dagger is on cooldown. Sparking Arrow, you've got to save your OD here. They've got the drain once again from Ori, the E-Blade coming through, the nuke damage, nowhere to go. Dead for 2 minutes, missing 2 of their big cores, and Vici still fighting fit, all 5 heroes looking to claim their axe, and I don't think they're going to get pushed out of here anytime soon. Are just going to go for some additional lanes.
They can claim the game. All the lanes are pushed in as well, so constant pressure coming out from them. Buyback was previously used on the OD, so he's definitely not coming into this fight.
Yeah, this is not the fastest siege in the world, but they're going to get this all cleaned up. Head over towards top. Felix thinking about the fight. He is getting spotted by this gem, so not in the best position. Does block some good damage with the spiked carapace, but there is still a morph stun waiting for him. Lich getting caught out a little bit further in. OP, all he can really do is watch. They have respawned on the Necro. Maybe they can find a kill with that. Eurus, nicely done with the spiked carapace. Just dodging a lot of damage, and Vici still undeterred. As Necrophos getting gone on. OP getting drained. Necrophos just... every single time he walks up into the fight, he just gets completely annihilated. And with that, GG is going to be called. Vici taking the first game in this best of 3.
Don't you love 1,000 BKB piercing pure damage on your Lina? Your pos 4 Lina?
It's good. Yeah.
Pretty nuts.
It's nice the hero can kind of farm it as well, right? And to me, the interesting thing is that this has become just the go-to position for Lina build. Like, people don't really buy... I guess we do occasionally see like a Yules, but people don't really buy utility items on the support Lina. It's just about getting to 18, getting the Ags, and just making a core on the enemy team miserable from that point forward.
I mean, your utility is still having that Light Strike array, which you can cast at a really long range. As soon as you've got that Aether lens, you've got the cast range talents, so it synergizes really well for what used to be a weakness. Now you can just turn it around and suddenly have all this burst potential as well, especially against something like the Necrophos, for example. When he uses that Ghost Shroud, he suddenly becomes a lot more vulnerable.
Yeah, and had the Nether Shawl as well. So a little bit of extra spell damage on top of everything. I have to say the Razor Pick worked out amazingly for Vici. Ori did quite well in the lane, and then after that point was just able to run around, set up a bunch of kills. Once he got the BKB, he was really winning the team fights single-handedly and bought them all the time that they needed to get the Morphling truly online and have Eurus really come in and close out the game. So Sparking Arrow back to the drawing board a little bit for game number 2.
Yeah, I think so. And again, the weight isn't so much on their shoulders, considering they have somewhat wrapped up first place. But yeah, it's for them as an organization, it's a huge turnaround as well. I think there was a previous Chinese league that they were in where they were actually finishing in last place. So now to come back and do the complete switcheroo, it's a big boon for them.
And it has been really cool that I feel like the Chinese region has been pretty competitive, or at least this tournament has looked, from, like we said, the middle of the pack has everyone's been taking games off of each other. It's been very competitive, and then we've still got some teams on the tippy top. I guess it's maybe not the best look that Sparking Arrow, nothing against them, but like relatively unknown players are topping the league. I think in previous years you would definitely be expecting like the hope would be that somebody like LGD would just be dominating, right? And we don't seem to have that necessarily that same clear divide in China currently, but definitely a lot of promising players and some really good games as well.
Yep.
Anyway, we're gonna
everyone master up basically. Like
yeah,
it's looking very competitive across the board.
Yeah, it would be nice to see. I do want Keen to try and they're a new roster, so it's gonna take them a little bit to kind of get their act together. But I think there is some potential on that team as well. Maybe not necessarily tier 1 potential, but I do think they're going to be continuing to climb, and it's great that there's so much developmental Dota in China.
Maybe
and
this is the
general.
patch for them.
Could be. You never know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We're going to head to a break, and when we come back, Game 2 of Sparking Arrow Gaming versus Vici Gaming will be ready for all of you.